On a cold winter night in 1964, in a small town in West Germany, a crime was committed, one that would remain a mystery for years to come. A young girl, with her whole life ahead of her, was brutally murdered inside her home, leaving behind a flood of questions, but no clear answers. But what makes this crime even more mysterious is not just its brutality, but the way it baffled everyone: the police, the media, and even the residents of the small town. Who could have committed such a crime without leaving a single trace behind? Everyone who knew Julia Kremer said she had no enemies. Yet someone, on that fateful night, decided she would never see the morning light. And now, after years of investigations, after the truth has remained shrouded in darkness for so long, it is time to uncover the secrets of the crime that left Germany bewildered. On the night of February 13th, 1964, everything seemed ordinary in the quiet town of Freiburg, Germany. The air was cold, the streets nearly deserted, and the clock had long passed midnight. Inside a small house on Kaiser Street, Julia Kremer, a young woman in her 20s with big ambitions, was getting ready for bed, unaware that this would be the last night of her life. The next morning, as the clock struck 8, Julia had not arrived at work. She didn't answer the phone, nor did she appear as she usually would. A sense of unease began to creep into her colleagues and friends. After several failed attempts to reach her, her closest friend, Anita, decided to go to her home to find out what was wrong. As Anita stepped inside the house, an eerie silence filled the air, as if time itself had stopped. There was no sound, no movement, no sign of life. Cautiously, she walked through the narrow hallway, calling Julia's name. But there was no answer. Then, as she reached the bedroom, she froze in place. Julia Kremer was there, lying on the floor beside her bed. Her eyes were open, yet void of life. The look on her face was frozen in shock, as if, in her final moments, she had seen something truly terrifying. The police arrived within minutes, and it quickly became clear this was no natural death. Julia had been murdered. But how and why? No broken doors or windows, no signs of forced entry. Nothing was stolen. But there was something strange. The look on her face, as if she had seen her killer and couldn't believe her own eyes. But the real shock wasn't just how she died, it was what was missing from the room. There was no murder weapon, no signs of a struggle, no unfamiliar fingerprints, just Julia. and a silent body that concealed more than it revealed. In a small town where everyone knew everyone, there was little room for doubt. The killer was someone from Julia's inner circle. But who? And why? And so, a race against time began, to uncover the hidden truth behind a crime that had baffled investigators for years. But was this secret the reason for her death? And could the killer be someone no one had ever suspected?
After the discovery of the crime, investigators began piecing together the puzzle. Who could have killed Julia Kremer? And why? The answer wasn't easy, but one thing was certain. The killer was not a stranger. They were someone Julia knew well, and perhaps someone she trusted. Hans Fischer, the young businessman, and Julia's former fiancé. Their relationship seemed perfect, at least to everyone else. But the truth, it was far more complicated. A week before her death, Julia abruptly ended her relationship with Hans. Her friends said she seemed tense and scared, but she didn't tell anyone why. Could Hans have been hiding a secret that cost her life?
I didn't see her that night. Yes, I was angry because she ended things, but I didn't kill her. Do you think I'm crazy?
Despite the mystery surrounding him, he had a solid alibi. Could he be innocent? Or is there something still hidden? When Anita Hoffman found her friend's body, she seemed shocked, but some investigators weren't convinced. Why did she enter the house without hesitation? Why didn't she immediately call the police? But the most bizarre discovery was what the police found in Julia's room: a silver bracelet with Anita's initials next to the body. When questioned about it, Anita claimed she hadn't seen it in weeks. But if that's true, how did it end up there, the night Julia was murdered?
Anita, answer me clearly. Were you at Julia's house that night?
Dr. Johann Berger, the psychiatrist whom Julia had been seeing in the weeks leading up to her death. His colleagues described him as a calm, intelligent man, but he wasn't entirely honest with the police. At first, Berger claimed he hadn't been in contact with Julia before her death. But when the police searched his office, they uncovered something strange. One of Julia's file pages was torn and had completely disappeared. What was he trying to hide? And did Julia know something she shouldn't have? Three suspects, three mysterious secrets, and three possible motives for murder. Could the killer be the jealous fiancé? The friend who knows more than she says? Or the doctor hiding something dangerous? But the truth, as the upcoming investigations will reveal, was darker than anyone expected.
As the days passed, the case of Julia Kremer's murder became more like an unsolvable, complex puzzle. Each suspect had a potential motive, but no one had any solid evidence against them. Every lead led to another, even more mysterious path. But Detective Franz Mueller was determined to uncover the truth.
Sir, we received a strange letter. It could change everything.
A week after the crime, a mysterious letter arrived at the police station, written in an unclear hand, but its contents were shocking.
I saw who killed Julia, but I cannot speak yet. Watch the eyes that do not sleep.
What does this letter mean? And who sent it? Was there a frightened witness? Or just someone trying to mislead the investigation? As the investigators tried to decode the message, the team uncovered a new piece of evidence no one had noticed before. A mysterious phone call made by Julia just hours before her death.
We need to talk tonight. I can't keep this secret any longer. I'll be waiting for you at home after 10. Please don't be late.
Unfortunately, the technicians couldn't identify the other caller. Could this phone call have been the reason for her murder? As the police were overwhelmed with searching for clues, a new witness appeared. An elderly woman named Elizabeth Mueller, who lives across from Julia's house. And she had something intriguing to say.
That night, I was sitting by the window, as I do every evening, and I saw someone enter Julia's house shortly after 10, but it wasn't Hans, and it wasn't Anita.
Then who was it?
After weeks of intense searching, a new witness finally emerged, carrying with her a key that could change the course of the entire investigation. Elizabeth Mueller, the elderly neighbor, claimed she saw someone enter Julia's house on the night of the murder, but the surprise was that this person wasn't any of the three main suspects the police had focused on from the beginning.
He was wearing a long coat and a hat. I couldn't see his face clearly, but somehow he looked familiar. I saw him enter the building at exactly 10:15.
Can you describe him more? Any details that could help us?
He was carrying a small bag, like he was a doctor or a lawyer, but there's something else. When he left about half an hour later, he was walking fast, like he didn't want anyone to see him.
Frederick Langer, a skilled lawyer who lived in the house next door to Julia's. He had never been on the suspect list. After all, he claimed he was out of town the night she was killed. But Elizabeth's testimony shattered that alibi, revealing that he had lied. As the investigators dug deeper into Frederick Langer's past, they uncovered something troubling. 2 years ago, Julia had testified against him in a fraud case. There had been no solid evidence back then, but he lost the case, and it caused his reputation to collapse. Could Frederick have killed Julia as revenge? And was her final phone call related to him?
You said you were out of town the night of the crime, but we have a witness who saw you enter the building. What were you doing there?
That's impossible. She must be mistaken.
But what exposed his lie was this small key, which was found hidden inside Julia's rug. Upon inspection, it was revealed to belong to Frederick Langer's apartment.
How do you explain your key being in Julia's apartment?
It wasn't supposed to happen. She knew too much.
After weeks of tangled investigations and tracking every loose thread, the police finally reached the decisive moment. Frederick Langer sat before Detective Mueller, his eyes darting in every direction as though searching for an escape. But there was no way out. Detective Mueller places in front of Friedrich a photo of Julia, the threat letter, and a picture of the key found in her apartment. He then pushes the case file bearing his name toward him.
So, Frederick, are you still insisting that you were out of town the night of the crime?
I don't understand why you're insisting I'm involved. I had no connection to Julia's death.
Then how do you explain finding this key, your apartment key, inside Julia's home?
The decisive moment had arrived. There was no escape, no more room for evasion. The truth began to close in on Frederick from all sides.
It wasn't supposed to happen. She wasn't supposed to die.
That night, Frederick entered Julia's house after she urgently asked him to come. She knew a dangerous secret about him, something that could destroy his entire professional life.
You can't escape this, Frederick. I'm going to the police tomorrow, and it's all over.
Please, Julia, we can work this out another way.
According to Friedrich's claims, in a moment of desperation, he pushed her away. He never meant to kill her. He simply didn't realize her head would strike the sharp marble edge of the table. In that instant, he realized it was over, that he had destroyed his own life. In a state of panic, Frederick tried to erase the evidence, wiping his fingerprints, turning off the lights, and then quickly leaving, heading toward the train station to create an alibi. But he made one fatal mistake. He forgot to take his apartment key with him, leaving it behind in Julia's apartment. And so he thought he had fooled everyone, but justice eventually found its way to him. Frederick Langer, you are under arrest for the murder of Julia Kremer. And so, after weeks of mystery and suspicion, the curtain fell on this complicated crime. At first glance, it appeared to be a rash act committed by a single man. But the investigation later uncovered shocking ties. The killer, a prominent lawyer, was connected to influential figures in German society, including members of the judiciary. Some of those individuals were eventually found to be complicit in the crime. Due to the sensitivity of the case and the status of those involved, the murder received surprisingly little media coverage in the months that followed. As always, the truth prevails, even when it shakes the foundations of power.